We're going to start the event. I want to give the welcoming to everyone. You are attending the Go Global International Trade webinars for the spring 2022. This is an initiative of the Pennsylvania Small Business Development Center. The Pennsylvania Small Business Development Center is funded by the Small Business Administration, by the Pennsylvania PrEP program, and the local universities wherever they are around the state of Pennsylvania. We count with key partners in this endeavor, and some of them are the U.S. Commercial Service and the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development. The International Trade Webinars is an initiative to start promoting export promotion and export assistance. The goal is to get more Pennsylvania companies to engage in exporting. We count with private sector service providers as well as partners, and they will be presenting throughout the spring sessions. As you see in the agenda, there's 5 sessions coming up. Today is the initial one on digital strategy for exports. My name is Brent Rondon. I work at the University of Pittsburgh. SBDC is the lead center for the Pennsylvania SBDC on International Trade Program. And today we have colleagues from the Temple University SBDC. We have Blandine, Chantepie-Kari, and also we have Janice, Crile. Also we have from the St. Vincent College SBDC, Vickie, Gyenes. As well as we have from the U.S. Commercial Service, the Philadelphia office, Tony Pugh, and then we have SBA, the Export Financing Office with Ed Schick. With that, I'm going to move to the next slide, which we have Blandine. Thank you.
Thank you, Brent. Hi, good morning, everyone. So we're gonna start by having a little introduction on what is SBDC network, and with my colleagues, we are representing 3 SBDCs, so East and West of Pennsylvania. After that, we have Tony, who just joined us, who is gonna present all the services that U.S. commercial services are doing around digital trade and how it can apply for your international endeavors. We're going to present you 2 programs that are statewide run by Temple Universities, SBDC. Then our colleague Ed's going to present how to finance your export. Then my colleague Vickie from St. Vincent College, SBDC, going to give you a more detail of the international trade services and conclude. So next slide. Perfect. So I'm Blandine Chantepie-Kari. I'm in charge of international programs and Temple SBDC. So any type of curriculum related to international program, import and export. So the SBDC, the network has been created in 1981. We are over 950 SBDCs across the US, and we're here to help you from pre-venture, from the creation of your first company, growth and transition. So transition to maybe you would sell your company or you will close it, but we're here there from the beginning to the end. And we have multiple services to help you start, grow, and prosper, including business planning, strategic planning, marketing research, human resources, and so on. And one of our activities are around international trade with our colleagues and partner organizations. So in Pennsylvania, we are lucky because we have 16 centers and all across the states. And you can go on our website to see which center you belong to. So our services in just few pictures, we do at no cost one-on-one consulting. We open our network, and you see some of our partners are around today. We have training events, and a lot are virtual now. We help you with capital formation and also help you to put together budgets, to get loans and stuff like that. And we have also centers of excellence that are new programs. So our centers of excellence are across the states, and you see all the list of the universities. You have around agriculture, digital services that we're going to present you today that are represented by Temple SBDC and by Pittsburgh University. Health and life sciences around Latino, so a lot of workshops in Spanish if you're interested. Tourism and hospitality, and we have also a special tool that we use that's called Growth Wheel. So, little reminder, if you're not thinking internationally, just 80% of the world's purchasing power is outside of the United States, and 92% of the world's economic growth will come out of the United States. So really, you should consider and to start planning and start start setting up your website and all those good things for the international markets. So now I'm gonna let Tony introduce all these different services and also some tips for how to be online for international markets. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Blandine. Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here with you all this morning. And I want to thank Blandine and Brent and the team for having me here today. So my name is Tony Poo. I'm with the Commercial Service, and our mission is exclusively to focus on U.S. exporting of products and services. So we really rely on all of our esteemed colleagues here and partners here to provide help in the different stages of exporting, as well as other objectives that are outside of exporting. So, so as I mentioned, I'm with the Commercial Service. The Commercial Service is the export promotion agency of the Department of Commerce. And so within the Commerce, we're under the International Trade Administration, grouped with our folks in DC. We have industry analysts, desk officers, trade policy folks, and our advocacy center, which I'll mention in a few minutes. And so our mission is to grow U.S. exports, meaning bring foreign money into the U.S. economy and creating U.S. jobs. Quickly about our structure. So how we are able to do that is through our overseas offices. So we're based at all of the, or not, I'm sorry, not all of them. We're based at the U.S. embassies and U.S. consulates. And so we're in about nearly 80 countries. And then we also work with the Department of State to provide support and services as well. And so the team on the ground, they are specialized by industry sectors, just like we are domestically. And so they, there's someone covering healthcare, covering environment technologies, and those specialists are very knowledgeable on their industry. So they're connected with the key players in their home market, the key companies, respective government entities for the industry. So they are our eyes and ears on the ground, and in turn yours as well. So you can kind of group our services, and I'll just go over this really briefly into these 4 buckets. Export counseling, counseling on your exporting process and helping you to refine your export plan and your go-to-market strategy. The second bucket, market intelligence, so how do you do business in that country, navigating the business landscape, the import requirements, regulations. We have services centered around to help you understand if a market is right for you, what your potential is like, and services to also help you with your due diligence. For business matchmaking, we also have services to help you connect with partners. So that can take the form of a customized service like the Gold Key, which I'm sure many of you have heard of, where you travel to the country to meet with pre-screened partners in some cases buyers or end users. And then, of course, trade missions, trade shows, and we have plenty of opportunities for projects and trade leads that we can share with you. And finally, the commercial diplomacy. Just want to mention for those that are looking at foreign government procurements, we can help with that to level the playing field. So working closely with our advocacy center in DC to strategize on how best to advocate for you and the U.S. companies bidding on a foreign procurement. So I'm going to skip over the next few slides since we're here to talk about digital strategy. So you can review these at your leisure. And so I want to stop here and just since we're talking about digital strategy, to highlight this website. It's very it's up to date and it's very resourceful. So if you go on this website, you can see some really good sections to help you think about what areas you need to work on for your digital strategy. And so there's training videos for, for visual learners. There's a section on for the digital strategy. What are those 5 steps to create your strategy? So I think that's a good process to revisit even if you have a plan. We have the section on the website globalization review gap analysis, and I will cover that in a minute. We do have a list of e-commerce business service providers, and so we're here to only assist with a piece of your digital strategy, right? So the other parts, you have to go to experts, and you can go through that list from digital marketing, cybersecurity, online payments, like gateways and shopping carts, back-end technology. So the other parts of it, you can find a list there, or you can contact us as well for references as well. And then finally, the last section is the e-commerce library, which is I've seen very up to date. There's an area on sort of a macro view on the trends and what the forecasting for e-commerce looks like. Country focused, so there's a section on talking about challenges with the Chinese e-commerce market, USMCA, the European retail and B2B markets. One section I thought was really interesting that you may want to review is the GDPR, which is the General Data Protection Regulation with the European Union, and I get a lot of questions on that. Now that the privacy shield that the Commerce administered, that's now invalid. So the GDPR section talks about they pull guidance from the the European Data Protection Board, and then help you understand things like who is a controller, who is a processor, and give me recommendations and best practices for how to build your how to make sure you're complying with your data privacy requirements if you're doing business in the EU. I want to highlight these just to put this up here, but these are the steps or your e-commerce sales channels. And of course, you can have a mix of sales channels, but to just show you the advantages and disadvantages of each one. And I want to focus on the bottom right quadrant, because we have plenty of resources to help you when you're using a third-party distributor or reseller in the country to help you with your digital strategy. So, and let me see if I can. Okay, so some of the things to consider when you're using a distributor, they allow you to enter a market more quickly and cheaply. A local partner has existing marketing and distribution network for you to use. They're already selling to consumers, already have an established local search engine optimization, and established branding. You will need to coordinate with overseas to find that partner, so we can help you with that either through our international partner search, our gold key. If it's something more technical, like you're looking for like a social media expert, things like that, we can always refer you to a provider. And then of course things like translation as well, which if I have time I can touch upon some resources about that as well. So what I wanted to showcase today for today's purposes for the webinar is our website globalization review gap analysis is a service we provide, and it's digital counseling around how your website looks, but the end deliverable is a website globalization report, and that report highlights 2 things. So sorry, I should back up. What that report is sort of to audit your website's international friendliness. And then we're doing that from a sales and marketing perspective. And then the other side is a technical side to look at your SEO, your search engine optimization. So the first side, the sales and marketing perspective, we're looking at things like the aesthetics and design and functionality of your website. And then when it comes to the technical side, we're utilizing two services or two SEO services. One is SEO Site Checkup, and the other is Moz.com, which is sort of the industry standard. And so what that helps you when it comes to search engine optimization is to make you visible, right, to international folks, to help you be visible on the search engine that they're using. And so the Moz report focuses on three things: your keywords, your meta tags, and your backlinks. And so identifying which areas you can fix to improve your SEO score. And you want to improve your SEO score so that your SERP ranking, or your SERP ranking, your search engine results page ranking is moved up, so you're bumped up the list and hopefully on that first page. And then also the SEO Site Checkup goes through a few dozens of checkup tests to make sure that your website is running smoothly. That is about it. And so I have other resources I can mention later on, but this is our contact information. Any of us on the team we cover different sectors, but any of us can talk about digital strategy and looping in the right resources. We also have an e-commerce innovation lab team that can help with the really technical questions on your website. And then we can all help with the gap analysis as well. So I'll stop there and I guess back to Blandine.
Thank you so much, Jenny. So can I have the next slide? So I'm going to invite my colleague, actually, Janice, to present our Pennsylvania Digital Transformation and e-commerce program, and I will speak after that.
There we go. Now you can all hear me. Thank you. And just to follow up on Tony's service, Temple University is in charge of the Pennsylvania Digital Transformation and E-commerce program. So we offer these services free of charge to Pennsylvania-based businesses. And those include everything that Tony just described. And we will have consultants work one-on-one with businesses to complete a website audit, an SEO report, social media audit. We help with digital literacy and e-commerce consulting so that we can guide small businesses in their transition from a brick and mortar to an e-commerce site or totally e-commerce. We also do lots of different webinars on cybersecurity, which is number one. And we will help Pennsylvania-based businesses adhere to the GDPR, which, as Tony had mentioned, is one of the most important aspects for the European Union. The only state in the United States that has a similar Privacy Protection Act is the state of California. So even if you are doing business locally but have customers coming from the state of California or the European Union, it looks like we'll be able to help you with that. And finally, we offer digital marketing webinars at no cost and consulting services. So lastly, if you need any of our help, you are welcome to contact me, Janice, SBDC at temple.edu. And there is a hot link in the side to our PadTep services. You apply here, go through a quick form and process, and then we assign a consultant to work with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Janice. So going back to your strategy, to export, and you may not even know if you want to export, where to start. I'm going to share a few tips and some of our program to help you to kind of start by meeting virtually some potential buyers or distributors or partners. And that's a good way to start before, investing in changing your website or changing strategy. Next slide, please. So amid COVID-19, a lot of transition has happened, and now all the large international trade shows in the US or overseas have hybrid solutions. So that means their matchmaking events do happen virtually as well, or only virtually. Some trade shows that are coming up, South by Southwest next month, and Bio International in Austin, and Bio International Convention in June in San Diego, have their own virtual platform where you can meet people. Those tend to be expensive. That can be like more than $1,000 ticket to have access to that, in addition of conferences and so on and talks. But you have also other conferences that have side events that are organized by different governments, different associations, and they tend to be less expensive or free. Like the one I'm going to talk, the ones I'm going to talk today, Hannover Messe, which is in Hanover in Germany, end of May, early June. Usually it's in April. It was postponed to be a hybrid event. And Smart City Expo in Barcelona every November. I just want to mention that our colleagues at the US Commercial Services do have matchmaking events that are free or very inexpensive. Like I think the last one was $150, and have trade missions. At really affordable cost. So I would recommend to look at that, to start meeting people before diving into export. Next slide, please. So we are launching a program to hold your hand. So anyone who are more in B2B, selling to the manufacturing industry, we're doing a 12-week program to bootcamp to really get meetings at the Hannover Messe virtual matchmaking event, in partnership with Cyber, which is Center for International Business Education and Research, was giving us some funding, and the Enterprise Europe network that I'm going to present shortly. Next slide. So our program really, you still have time to register. The deadline is for February 22nd. On the 24th, we are matching with students who can help who will help to develop collaterals, which are critical, to put your foot forward, having your profile up to date, a brochure that is relevant for international market. You will participate, or the party will participate at the Hannover Messe, and I'm going to show you how to, because you don't need to be part of our bootcamp to participate, and we're going to leverage different platforms. So Hannover Messe, if you don't know that show, is one of the largest in the world. The focus is what they call Industry 4.0, smart manufacturing solutions. This year, there is a huge focus on decarbonization technology, clean tech, and sustainable energy and mobility. It's really a great show for any B2B companies to look at. Next slide. So this is a virtual platform, a matchmaking platform that you can log in and register to put a profile and try to meet foreign potential partners. So I put the link there, so you can start and dig it. Next slide, please. So I'm going to just give quick examples of the one who just happened in November around Smart City Expo. As you can see, there are participants from all around the world. In that case, it's a smaller show. There are 600 participants. And all of those meetings in Europe are mostly driven by that platform, which is B2Match. It's a platform that the European Commission is using a lot, and I put the link because you can look at a lot of different events that most of them are at no cost. And if you put a profile in one of the events, it's easy to duplicate for another event. Next slide. So you can promote your products, you have products, your services. You can also request for collaboration. So if you're looking to certain grants you're looking for and you need partners. So it's a great, there is what they call a marketplace. Next slide. So Enterprise Europe Network, it's a network that was created like in 2008 by the European Commission. They spent 356 million euros on it. They're paying people in Europe to kind of to different organizations, Chamber of Commerce, universities, economic development organizations style, kind of like SBDCs if you want, to activate, to organize events and so on. And outside of the European Commission, there are partners that have access, don't receive funding, but have access. And as SBDC, we have access to help you to be on the platform and meet organizations. Next slide. So just a quick number, I think it's very impressive that a network allows to have 1.7 million participants at all those events. So enjoy, look at those events and try to organize meetings with people to see if your offer has may have traction in their country. And I think it's a great place to start. So my last slide, you have the link to apply for our bootcamp. It's free, it's at no cost, but spots are limited. So please register, and if not, at least go check out those matchmaking platform. So the next speaker that's gonna give you some hints how to finance your exports. Once you've seen that there is some traction, it's Ed with SBA.
Thank you, Blandine. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ed Schick. I'm located here in Pittsburgh. I'm with the SBA. As you know, the SBA is supports small businesses in several sectors, such as financing, counseling, and how to get a government contract. So I'm part of what they call the Office of International Trade. And so we take it one step further. We help small businesses with their international trade development process, course, what have you. And we work with partners, just like all the partners that are here on this call right now. We work with these partners. We work both on the state level and the federal level. And we all work together to provide you with that excellent support and to go to international markets, to say, hey, listen, I want to sell overseas. And just like earlier today, why do we do that? Because 95% of consumers are outside the United States. And more important, the way we look at it, 98% of exporters are small businesses. So whether you export a widget, a machine, or a service, we're here to help. So how do we do that? Well, we have 3 programs. We have the Export Working Capital Program. We have what we call the International Trade Loan Program. And then we have what we call the Export Express. Here are the 3 programs. So I want to talk just briefly about 2 of them, and then one get a little bit in detail, because that might be more of what is conducive to what we're looking here this morning. So our first program is the Export Working Capital Program, as it says here on the slide. And this is really to give access to a small business when you have a foreign sale, when you have an international sale. In banking, when a banker sees a sale to a company, let's say in Brazil or Mexico or Peru, they get a little bit, squeamish, because, are you going to get paid? If I lend to you, how do I know you're going to get paid from your foreign buyer? So that's where we come in. We come in with a guarantee. We provide that support, that credit wrap, so to speak, for that sale. So then we work with you, the small business, and we work with the lender to try to structure something where the lender will be comfortable in providing you financing support. And that's key here on all 3 programs. Is we're here to support the lender and you, and we're here to try to structure it so you do not lose an international sale because you can't get funding for that. So that's our main goal here for you. So with the working capital program, just like it says, it provides working capital to fulfill a single order, multiple orders, or maybe you have a continuous orders from different countries, and you're working to build up that inventory and services in order to fulfill these contracts. So that's what this working capital program does. As you can see, it's up to $5 million. It has a 90% guarantee, which is for the lender, so it's very attractive because that's a good support for the lender to be able to support you on this. And what can the funds be used for? What can the financing be used for? It can be used for inventory, purchasing goods and services, and sometimes a foreign buyer might say, listen, I want to buy from you, but how do I know you're going to produce? So you can use this funding for a performance bond, or what they call a standby letter of credit. So that's briefly the first program. The second program I want to talk about real quick is the international trade loan. So this is more of a term loan that provides support up to $5 million. Again, it comes with a 90% guarantee for the lender. And basically, what are the funds used for? It's for purchasing equipment. Let's say you have to buy a piece of equipment in order to export. You want to buy a complementary piece of equipment so you can add to what you have now, because you have orders coming through your website to Latin America, to Europe. So this is all equipment that's related to export. What else? Real estate. Let's say, for instance, you're growing fast and you need extra space. You need to buy that warehouse that's next to your current facility. Bingo, we can do that for you. That's what this loan does for you as well. And let's say you know of a business that you're talking to, and you want to buy them because they can complement your product line that you're selling overseas. You can use this financing as well. So, and then there's also you can refinance your debt. Of course, these programs have to have some kind of export angle to it. And then the next program, which I think is what's really good for this particular your digital strategy, is what we call the Export Express. And one of the reasons why I think it's good for this program, for this type of product, is because, first of all, the lender more than likely already has a signed agreement for doing the SBA Express program. So as the words go, Export Express is a supplemental agreement to the Express program, and that term loan or working capital is up to $500,000. So it's not big money, but it's good enough. And one of the sweet spots of this is that it's the process is basically the same as the Express program. So a lender will use all their own credit policy. They don't really have to do much. Their credit standards are the same. So nothing changes other than the fact that this is for an export. And then there's an export questionnaire just to confirm that this is for that the proceeds are going to be used for an export. And like I said, it could be a term loan, or it could be a line of credit. And term loan, of course, you could have permanent working capital. You have to buy equipment, real estate, things like that. But I think what's really important for our conversation today is, how does it relate? Well, you can use the funds, the proceeds of these SBA Export Express funds for international, what do you call it, IP protection, compliance. You're going to be probably being requested to do some compliance upgrade, or IP protection, legal help, so to speak. So you hire a lawyer because you want to protect your intellectual property. Product customization. You have to customize it per, let's say, your client overseas, or even yourself. You have to adapt your website or your software to what, let's say, what they require in France, what they require in Germany. So these are some of the proceeds. Another thing, talking to what Blandine said about Hannover Messe, this funds can use so you can participate in these trade shows overseas. You know, that's an important part of your business, of of looking for international markets and so forth. And it also helps support the development of digital platforms. I mean, for e-commerce. So as you can see, it really does quite a bit of what you're looking to do. Now, of course, we have to work together on this with your lender, with myself, and you in trying to structure something of how we can go about getting that necessary capital that you really need. Again, this financing is a team effort. You know, I would suggest you talk to your bank about these programs, see if they do it. Some banks don't do it. But we always encourage them, let's look at an SBA export program. And if there's anything, if there's anything you need, any questions, just let me know. Just give me a call, send me an email, and I'm always readily available. And again, I work with these, these partners, service partners. SBDC is a great tool to have as well in preparing what you need for your journey on the global stage. Thank you. There you go.
Okay, so basically, I just wanted to go over some of the things with the SBDCs in general with regard to the international program. I mean, there's a lot of services, and Blandine and all the other presenters talked about things. But I guess the focus here is whenever you start with the small business development centers, that we're looking at business and market assessments. We're going to look at your company to see if you're ready to do exporting and to get you prepared. So that might be some preliminary domestic or global market research, anything from industry to product, specific research, trying to identify where that place may be that would be the best place for you to start. And usually we'll pick out 3 or 4 places that we say, okay, you may have a good opportunity here. We're going to look at what's it going to take in terms of technical and safety standards. Is that something your company can afford to do at this time, depending upon the size of your business? And then we're going to look at forming some strategic plans, market growth strategies, and things like the advertising and promotion, like the e-commerce, like the programs that Department of Commerce offers, programs that the state offers, and things like Blandine talked about with the European program in Hanover Mess. We also are going to look at specialty skills development. So that would be how you're going to look at managing that market, your export market regulations, things to keep you in compliance. Do you know how to do an international quote and get paid? Thinking about things like shipping and logistics. And then that tactical market implementation that talks about trade shows, missions and events, access to those foreign trade offices, trade leads and contacts, and federal, state, and private industry referrals. And I know it gets a little confusing, okay? We all start, and now you've just been given a whole big basket of options in order to say, how do I go about this? What's my first step, second step, etc. Well, and I know it sounds like some of these programs are exactly the same, but the role we play in them is somewhat different. There's not that many people at each office, number one. Number two, we each play a different role. So if you look at this chart, it's like, who's there to help with the process? Well, anywhere you see yellow on this chart, the company is going to be involved. Where you see yellow and green, that might be the SBDCs along with the company. Where you see the orange coming in, That might mean that at that point, the regional export network from the state gets involved, the Office of International Business Development, where they have overseas offices, or the U.S. Department of Commerce, the International Trade Administration, or any of those other federal agencies that may offer assistance that's related to exporting. And then we have the other part of that where the banking comes into play, where you see on the chart in blue. So that's where the bank or SBA or Exim may get involved in that. And then the areas where there's gray on this chart, that means that we're going to give you referrals to private industry sectors. That might be your attorneys. That might be freight forwarding companies. So I guess, the key takeaway that I would have as working at the SBDC is this is a large process and there's so much information out there. So one of the things is like, where do I start and who do I need to be in contact with? Well, it sounds like in some cases we may be competing as service providers, but we're really not. Think of it in terms of if I start with a company, or if any of my colleagues start with a company, we're going to do some of this preliminary preparedness to get you ready and sort of look at what markets might be potential markets for you. We're not just going to throw you into a market because, oh, we want to make an export. No, we want to choose those places that are going to be best for your company. And then we're not going to have feet on the ground necessarily. So that's where the state and the federal services come into play, because they have feet on the ground in these countries where they can then take a look at, where we can say to them, oh, we think this is probably a good market for this company. Can you please verify that? And what do we do as next steps? And that's where we work together, because they're going to have that more of a primary market research than we're going to have. Ours is going to be more secondary in most cases. So they're going to be able to take that forward, but we're going to work together on these programs. It's not a win-win. It's not unless we all do it together. And at the end of the day, what we're really looking for is for the companies to move forward. And as they move forward, they're going to need services that the banking system, the SBA, and possibly Exim has to offer, as well as private sector. So, when you start with the Small Business Development Center, we are going to refer you when it's time to do that, when we've reached that point. Some of this jumps a little bit ahead with e-commerce, because all at once you are global when you have that e-commerce website and you start doing those things. So you may have to get on a fast track, but it is a process. If you're starting fresh at this, then you need to have some time to get acquainted with all the different processes, and it's a learning process as well. So, as they say, we can't be all things to all people at all times. So each of us, we have some expertise, but none of us know it all. We all have something to learn at the end of the day, and we can team together, and that way we have the best knowledge available to all of us. So then we look at, the Pennsylvania services, and we have something through the Office of International Business Development in the state of Pennsylvania that they also offer guidance and coordination for market entry, and they will be there to support you. They have offices in certain states. They have people that work with the businesses, and in particular, you can see that they have representation in Australia, Canada, China, the Czech Republic, that covers a few countries, Germany, etc., from the slide there. So that is where they have people that have been hired by the state of Pennsylvania to assist Pennsylvania companies with market entry, be it getting agents, distributors, representatives, trade show attendance, whatever that might be. So that's what they're there for. Now with the U.S. Commercial Service Office, of course, you're going to have a broader range of countries that they're in, etc. But, these are both options for companies, and it really depends upon what you're trying to do and what those offices offer at that particular time. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Brent.
Thank you, Vickie. Appreciate it. So Vickie explained very clear about the services that SBDC in Pennsylvania offers to local entrepreneurs and established companies. So we have years of experience doing this international business development. Vickie has been doing this job for over 20 years. She has led trade missions to different countries overseas. And the same for myself. I've been in this business for a while. We have also personnel in the SBDC system who speaks different languages, so they're happy to help you and connect with different areas of the world. We are happy to work with the state of Pennsylvania and the U.S. Commercial Service, as they have many programs that they can help Pennsylvania companies to be more competitive and more friendly to international businesses. As you know, we have 20 countries where we have free trade agreements, and our neighbors, right? Canada and Mexico are our top export markets. So when we ask a survey out of 100% of companies, and we ask how many exports, so we have 33 million businesses in the United States. How many of them export? And the answer is 97% of them. I'm sorry, 1% export, but out of that 1% of exports, 97% are small businesses. But the next question is, okay, so tell me, which countries do you export to? And more than 50% export to only one country. So that's what they call exports, right? And the main country is Canada. So there's lots of room to grow in terms of export assistance and export development. The programs are there. SBDCs are more on the beginning end, where we help you to do the base. We teach you to speak the international business language and to be ready to comply with the U.S. export regulations, for example. But then after that, you go into the state program or the U.S. Commercial Service programs, where, as Vickie said, they can take you overseas, where they have people in ground helping you out. So next step here is, how do you request an assistance from the SBDC program? You can just Google Pennsylvania SBDC and you will get us. Also in the slide, you can see one of the links there. And then you see the Pennsylvania SBDC website, pasbdc.org, Temple University SBDC's website, St. Vincent College SBDC website, and the University of Pittsburgh SBDC websites. Now, today we cover the digital strategy for exports. Do you know that 60% of the world is online? And that 60% means 4.6 billion internet users today. From 2019 to 2021 alone, there has been an increase of 21% of users, going from 3.4 billion to 4.2 billion in a matter of what, 2 years. This trend of digitization just emphasizes the importance for businesses to invest in online business development tools to communicate with their clients and grow their online presence, including website localization, that means translations, that means making a Canadian website, making a German website of your business. It's one thing to have a US-based website, and a different thing is to have an Australian based website. So there are many companies who offer that type of service. Also, international marketing strategies, the SEO analysis that Janice, Crile explained on this webinar. There are many services that you can be competitive just playing in the digital exporting. Next session's coming up. In 2 weeks, we're going to meet again with all of you who register for this webinar at a Q&A session. That will be at noon on Thursday, February 24th. And we're going to extend an invitation for you to log in, and we're going to have touch exclusively on your issues, questions, problems that you have, and we can give you some pointers. The speakers of today's presentation will be attending that Q&A, and we'll be happy to meet with you in a different setting, right? It's not a presentation, it's more you talking to us and giving us your questions. After that, we have going to continue with the Go Global webinars. Next month, on March 10th, we have a topic of services as an export, technology, engineering. And then after that, April 7th, we have international logistics and shipping, which, as you know, the supply chain problem right now is a big issue for many companies. And so that event is going to focus on that. On May 12th, we're going to touch on the overview of export controls and compliance. And then on June 9th, we have effective management of export transactions and documentation. So with that, all that said, we want to thank everybody who were here today presenting this event. Our partners, Tony Pugh from the U.S. Commercial Service, Temple University SBDC, St. Vincent University SBDC, and all of you who attended this morning. And this event is being recorded, and you will get the recording plus the copy of the slides. With that, any last comments from the panelists?
I know some of you couldn't be live today, so I'm sorry for the people who couldn't connect, but now they can watch the recording. So some people had issues today to connect.
Sure. Thank you, Blandine, and thank you, everyone. I'm going to stop the recording, and then with that, we finish this event. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you, Blandine.